Welcome, 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 welcome to our spiritual mornings. Let's start our wonderful morning with gratitude. Gratitude for all that has happened in the last 48 hours. We didn't connect on Sunday as always. So let's be grateful for whatever's transpired over the weekend. And this beautiful Monday morning, let's begin with a ray of hope that's going to be magical, loaded with promises. It's also the auspicious Navratri time. So may the goddess in us ignite us, empower us, enliven us, enlighten us. So let's take beautiful 100 minutes, 100 seconds, and count our blessings. Let's be tuned with our breath. Breathe in, breathe out. Deeply breathe at least thrice. And appreciate the wonder, namely the body. How wonderfully, even when we are resting, our body is functioning so magically. The livers, kidney, nerves, blood system, endocrine system, pancreatic system, all the possible systems are working effortlessly, without effort, without any command, on their own. Then why is it that we many a times feel that it's not enough, that we need something more? The universe is made of pure energy. What are we tuning into? The good energy, the positive energy, or the negative energy, also the bad energy? The job of energy is to just move and flow. The nature of life is constant changes because change is the only constant. If we truly understand this, if we truly tune into this rhythm, then we're able to give and receive freely. So as I speak, see your body. Of course, with eyes closed, scan it. and just thank it. It's constantly changing. It's constantly flowing. The blood is flowing. 70% is water. That is there. It's not stagnant. There is movement. At times, your stomach gurgles and makes a noise. Digestion system is happening. When we tune into the rhythm of our body and the universe, we are able to tap in and give and receive freely, knowing that we really never lose anything but only gain. And once we accept to learn this goodness, to learn to accept the goodness, we naturally want to share it, realizing that what we give out, when we're making space, more will flow in us. Through insecurity, feeling that there isn't enough, we try to hold on and cling to what we have. We begin to cut off this wonderful flow of energy. Simple example, when we hold on to the thought that, I am going to go on a weight loss mission, or I am going to go on that mission, and I'm not going to eat more. The body holds on. It stops burning until that becomes regular. Then it knows, okay, this is the way it is. The body is going to fast. So I can use my own reserves and burn off the stored visceral fat or anything which is kept in the body. But until then, it doesn't use, because the body is a very smart tool. Super smart. More smart than we think it is. So have you ever tapped into the energy of your body? Ever spoken to it? Because in our soulful mornings, we continue to understand and accept that I am neither the body, I'm neither the mind. I am soul, the eternal, powerful, soulful soul. But yes, in the making of me as a person, there is a mind which is divided into conscious, subconscious. There's this body which has a gut brain also, which has a heart and emotions also. This body is listening to every single thing that's happening around us. So what energy have we created around us? Are we clinging on to some kind of energy which is not positive in nature? If we fail to keep the energy moving, then there is no space for new energy. For example, if you're witnessing constipation and you're stuffing your body with more food, what happens? Acid reflux, flatulence, bloating, indigestion, burps, farts. We are making it like a dirty sink where the excretion, where the discharge is not happening, where the flow out is not happening. It's stuck energy. So rather than working on the body to clear that debris, we are flooding it with more food. Similarly, if in our body we are stuck with some thoughts and not moving, the energy flow is not there, then we are giving the wrong signals. Energy in itself has many forms. If we talk about emotions, it's energy in motions. It's love, affection, appreciation, recognition. materialistic possessions, money, friendships. This principle applies equally to all forms, which means every single form, all we need is the movement. Relationships can't be stagnant. There needs to be movement. Materialistic possessions, movement. If we just keep stocking, not buying, not receiving, if there's no money circulation, it's stuck. It's not going to grow, or it'll grow at a very small pace. What we give, we get. So, what energy are we giving? If we look around ourselves and we look at those who are unhappy, then you'll often try and observe. If you observe, you try and see that people sometimes have a feeling of starvation. This feeling in their life is general. They're desperately trying to get validation, to wring out love and satisfaction that they're craving. And yet, they're choking off the supply. What kind of craving? Why has social media gotten so big? Any kind of social media platforms like Facebooks, Instagrams, people are craving for validation. They post something and they want people to reply or comment or something. And then initially you're hooked on how many likes, how many things. Why? Because you're not enough is the feeling. When you get ready, you ask, how am I looking? Because you're wanting validation. Why this tendency? It's time to start giving, to reverse this flow, if it's happening. What is the truest form of giving? Please understand, women and men suffer from the delusion the truest form of giving comes out of sacrifice. No, that is not the form of giving. Or it could be self-righteousness, that we have to stick to these principles, this dharma, and that's how it works. Truest form of giving comes from the depth of your heart when there is nothing but pure pleasure, because it's what you like to give. It's not what you have to give. It can only come from a full loving space within you. Each of us are blessed with an infinite supply of love and happiness within us. We have been taught to think that we have to get something from outside, and that makes us happy. So we are waiting for outside validation. Some people love the idea of therapeutic shopping. They think it's therapeutic because they think buying something gives you happiness. But look deep within. Does that make you happy in comparison to a walk in a beautiful park surrounded with Mother Nature? If you start looking at your life, you will understand what are the real forms of happiness. And for this, we will have to be connected with ourselves. We must learn to contact our inner source of happiness and be satisfied. And then flow outwards, give to people. Because it feels really, really, really good. That's essential nature of love. Not out of what we think that I am the man, so I need to be the breadwinner, or I am the woman, so I need to make the house, and for this I have to sacrifice this, that. If you're making food with your children or your husband, if you're a woman, and if you're telling the staff or making the food yourself, making it which makes your husband or your children happy, then you have to decide a day where you make the food that what makes you happy. Everybody is equal. If you are not full enough, if you're not happy enough, how will you share happiness? Then it will come out of a place of compromise. When we have loving energy, we are becoming bigger and bigger and more expansive. Then we will discover the process which feels so good in itself. And we'll automatically want to do more and more. On the other hand, when you're just giving, 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 you're depleting your energy, you will become you'll shrink more. And you'll just do it so, without love. Mother Nature does not like vacuums. So if there's any vacuum, there has to be energy flow in that, and that's when it becomes complete. So if you want your dreams to be fulfilled, remember, we can't continue to give unless we are equally open to receiving. And that receiving is for ourselves. At a spiritual level, we all have a soul contract when we come on Mother Earth. Those of us who are not open to receiving, and for that example is very simple. Please analyze yourself. When somebody compliments you, how do you receive it? Do you say thank you for observing, or thank you for bringing a smile to me, or thank you for liking the outfit I'm wearing, or the jewelry I'm wearing, or the way I'm wearing my hair, or the body that I wear? When people say, hey, you've lost weight, or hey, you're glowing, hey, I love your shirt, I love your trouser, where is it from? Oh, I love your dress, whatever you're wearing, whether you're a man or a woman. Do you accept it kindly, graciously, or do you say, nay, but how do you, this is such an old outfit of mine. Hey, but this is just from that day. Why is that happening? It's because of false ego. Ego in itself is false. Now you will say, but I don't feel good about me. How can people like me? And then even that is ego. There's something called superiority complex, which you all know, and there's something called inferiority complex. Again, we all know. But what are complexes? They are delusionary world which takes us away from the reality of life. And anything which is not real, which is not true, is false. And that, my dear co-learners, is ego, also equivalent to anything false. So when we shirk from accepting compliments, remind yourself, my ego is coming into play and I am not egoistic, I am love. So when next time somebody compliments you, first thought has to be, I accept myself as beautiful and loved and liked or whatever, and then tell the person, thank you so much for observing. Or whatever comes to your mind and your heart, learn to accept. It's very simple. If somebody wants to give something in your bank, if you say no, then you're a fool. When things are coming your way, let them come. Yeah, if it's dishonest money, everybody will say no, or some people will say no. So from today onwards, let's learn to appreciate people. Express our appreciation is one of the biggest gifts we can give to ourselves. Right now, take 5 seconds or say 50 seconds and think of the 5 things that you appreciate in other people. And if possible, make it 5 people with those qualities. We have to start learning to flow. And this flow could be by giving a like physical hug to somebody, giving a small little gift to somebody, calling up somebody, writing something, email, maybe a WhatsApp message, maybe just giving money to buy something, like small little gestures. My grandparents are shifting into the new home, and this old bungalow of theirs would be put on rent. So the staff had come from backers and movers. Just the mere one doesn't have to give it, but my husband was standing and getting the work done, and he said, "Okay, everybody." He gave the money to the driver. He said, "Get a meal for everybody. Get cokes for everybody." Yeah, it's a normal human thing to do. But these gestures come when you are flowing with love, when there's no scarcity mindset कि अरे हमें देने की जरूरत तो नहीं है. Simple stuff, very doable stuff. Choose whatever makes you feel good, not out of ego, but out of love. So I request you to take these 50 seconds and think of the 5 people and the 5 compliments that you want to give to them. One each, maybe. If more is great. Take your time. Tune into it, please. How difficult was it? Even the idea of thinking that we are complimenting others is also a sense of good feeling. We all want people to like us. But do we want us to like people without judgment? And today onwards, if possible, whenever you are in a conversation with anybody else and when you find yourself and them judging anybody else, stand corrected. We have not been given the title of judge by any government body. And yet we have judged ourselves and others far too easily. Who has given us the right? Why have we learned this limiting aspect of us from society? Why? And what we have learned, we can unlearn easily. When I newly entered this world of finding good in people, I remember so beautifully the compliments would come out of my mouth. I was new, I was amazed at how much good I could see in people. Till then, nobody had taught me. And then I found people's eyes talking. Somebody's smile very heartwarming. Somebody's presence very beautiful. Then when I used to go in the park in the morning for a walk, I would find these uncles and aunties and people, co-walkers, just smiling away and just nodding and saying good morning. And I felt so good to reply good morning because a new world of magic book had come in my life, which said, if somebody says good morning, say it back. Yeah, you too have a great morning. And not just, nod it. There's magic waiting for all of us out there. Let's start flowing in life. Small little actions of kindness have a ripple effect and they make a big difference. If you say something good to somebody, he or she is bound to do the same for other people. So have faith in the abundance, have faith in the affirmations that life is beautiful. Have faith in the affirmation that actions speak louder than words. And tithing our income is something we've all heard, Dashansh, Daswant. But are we implementing that even now in our soulful journey? Are we contributing to any kind of organization, any kind of a religious place, maybe any kind of, it doesn't matter, लंगर है कुछ भी है, आप अगर उसको religious connotation से भी कर रहे हो, उसका result क्या है? लोग खाना खा रहे हैं, आप श्रद्धा भाव से खाना खिला रहे हो, you're supporting, you're part of this entire energy system. जब हमें यूनिवर्सल सोर्स से मिलता है, हमें यूनिवर्सल सोर्स की तरह किसी को देना भी होता है, because each one of us is made in the image of God. He has given us and he's made us in his image because we can give. So never ever forget. Become as creative as you want in this aspect, whatever works for you. And now correlate whatever you've understood in the session. Most of it you've heard again. Sometimes some conversations done in the form of meditations bring a shift in our being. I hope you've had some shift. And with those beautiful blessings, I fold my hands in front of you and requesting you to fold your hands in front of you in your hearts. And let's be grateful to the wonderful energy that's flowing. Let's accept the goodness of people, of things, of life from universe. And let's pray that here on, I'm part of the entire ecosystem. And I too am willing to learn to give unconditionally and accept unconditionally. So it is. Be blessed, my dear friends. Today we read this wonderful book yet again. Miracles Happen. And here in this wonderful book, we just began reading it the other day. And today is actually the first chapter of it. And it's all about we are all connected. Once, when I was teaching a large group workshop, I noticed a little card. On it was a poem or prayer that read, Buddha nature pervades the whole universe, existing right here and now. I dedicate the merit of the practice to all the sentient beings. Together we realize liberation. Whenever I reach the Buddha nature or I talk about Buddha, I remember one of my teachers, Nitya Shanti. He said it is completely the choice of the person whether to be a Buddha or whether to be a Buddhu. जानते परखते समझते अगर हम कोई सिली स्टेप ले रहे हैं तो वी आर बीइंग अ बुद्धू. जानते परखते समझते अगर हम कोई वाइज स्टेप ले रहे हैं so we are being a Buddha. Universal nature is there of wisdom. We all have so much wisdom in us. And when we read Dr. Brian Weiss's book every morning, we're tapping into the energy that we've had so many lives before. Okay, some of you, I'm just deviating from the topic. Some of you wanted Akashic reading. I forgot 2-3 people had told me. So let me know, or just send me a WhatsApp. We'll schedule a call and we'll look into your Akasha records, right? All right. So Dr. Weiss says, as he read these words about this prayer which the Buddhism has, he realized that this is true for everyone and everything. We can substitute instead of Buddha nature if you feel more comfortable the word of love or God or Jesus or higher power or any other spiritual figure. It doesn't matter. It simply means a kind, wise, and loving energy, perhaps with attributes beyond which we can comprehend, that fills the atoms and molecules and energies, energetic particles of the whole universe. An energy from which we are made and precipitated in a sense. this energy, this Buddha or God nature exists right here and now, everywhere, all the time. You can dedicate the practice of your daily life to bring about, in a compassionate manner, the advancement of all sentient beings. That is, all things have consciousness. Together, because every one of us is connected, we can realize liberation, which is freedom from the process of birth and death and rebirth, so that we can graduate from the school that we call Earth. Again, I want to remind you, everybody, our words have beautiful power. Yesterday, I was in a healing session with somebody, and she is telling me, मैम इतना कुछ है ये दुनिया में सीखने को, आपने इतनी मोडालिटीज सीखी हैं, अगर मुझे आपकी तरह बनना है तो मेरे को तो एक और लाइफ का एक और बर्थ लेना पड़ेगा. रियली? वापस बर्थ लेना पड़ेगा? मतलब आपकी इंटेंशन ही नहीं है मुक्त होने की लाइफ एंड डेथ के ड्रामा से. There are so many souls that have not taken birth again because births after births after births, they finally found enlightenment, and then they are in different modalities, different universe. Earth is a school. It's a very unique planet. It's here to teach us so much. And whether we realize or whether we don't, अब we are entering the world of Satyug. All of a sudden, you have seen in COVID, there have been early retirements. At a soul level, they were given an option. You want to suffer for more 40 years or you want early retirement, and they've chosen early retirement. Life उतनी आसान भी नहीं है. Choices हर मुद्दे पे हर समय आती हैं. Every choice has its goods and bads. What are we tuning into? So if we say words like मुझे फिर जन्म लेना होगा, okay, then that's your intention. Tathastu. Universe is hearing, it's giving you. So please be a bit careful as to what you speak. तभी जैसे ना वाइज लोग बात कम करते, सुनते ज्यादा है. They are good listeners. सोच समझ के बोलना चाहिए. I'm not saying have filters. But we all know that what's spoken can't be taken back. Our words can be misconstrued. थोड़ा सा wisdom, थोड़ा सा thought. That word together, that one simple word is crucial. There is such a sacred energy in the gathering of the group. As the stories in this chapter illustrate, it is no accident, no coincidence that specific people come together at a certain time for a collective purpose. Now, what is the collective purpose of this Sangha in the morning that we come together? To grow, to evolve, to start our day with some positive energy, right? And what will it do? Ultimate, हमारा goal क्या है? That we become more conscious. Our living becomes more conscious. Our life becomes more beautiful. We realize about the universal values again and again and again because we are human beings. हम ऐसे चले जाते हैं लाइफ में, हम इधर उधर हो जाते हैं. So ये mornings at least हमें वापस ट्रैक पे ले आती हैं, right? जैसे एक एथलीट होता है ना, उसको पता है मुझे ट्रेनिंग करनी है, स्ट्रेंथ लाना है, तभी मैं वो एक्स्ट्रा माइल या एक्स्ट्रा काम कर पाता हूँ अपने स्पोर्ट पे. So we are all training ourselves for that final journey. अध्यात्म बहुत important है, self development बहुत important है. Everybody should give 10% of their time in self improvement. So if we are up for say 16 hours, 1 hour, 1 hour and 1/6 part should be given for learning. It's very, very, very imperative. And we are spending 1 hour at least in the morning. So at least kahin na kahin hum balance kar rahe hain. थोड़ा बहुत और अगर हमने YouTube पे कुछ सुन लिया या कोई बुक पढ़ ली, so great. So that is why it's very important to be in the good company. That's why I oftentimes tell people that even when you go for your walks, listen to either good music or listen to some beautiful teacher on YouTube. There are so many beautiful teachers out there. Tune into somebody's channel and start listening. And just make that walk time your therapeutic time. And okay, this is my time for my soul. And this is the time for me to learn and grow and evolve. Don't just while away time. When you have extra time, I know OTT is a big addiction. I have been addicted to it in a very bad way of late also. But it just screws up your ass entire thought process. It wants more, more. It gives you the stimulation, right? Some of the authors of these stories are able to divine the intricate, are able to divine the intricate. Maybe it's derive. Are able to derive the intricate, infinite threads that tie each other to each one of us to another. Okay. Others who call themselves strangers find that they have been intimately linked throughout their lifetimes. There are no strangers, there are no separateness, no one stands alone. For example, any particular group of people who are attending one of my workshops is not truly random. They are already connected to each other even before they have assembled, pulled in by some greater coordinating force. It is as if a cosmic magnet attracts those specific souls that are needed for that workshop. Soulmates and others, some of whom have shared past life but have not yet met in the present one, are brought together. These unions are actual reunions. As I looked at the card, I remember thinking how important this little prayer is. Then, as I was teaching the course, with the words of the prayer still resonating in my mind, I understood that the 130 people who had come to this intensive course were assembled not just for their own purposes, not just to experience a past life. What if God or a higher power had assembled these 130 people to heal three or four? What if the intention was, well, let's get these particular 130 people and their unique energy to heal these three or four among their group who are in need. What a privilege, what an honor, what a blessing it would be to be included amongst these 130 people. That gave a different perspective to me and to the entire group. We realized that miracles are happening. We merely had to open our eyes. I again repeat, mangoge to milega. Ask and you will receive. Believe and you will receive. How does this energy go about receiving and giving? If you ask for some kind of food from the cook, you get, right? That's very simple. He's working for you, so whatever you tell him, he will give. But if you relate it to the fashion that when you ask, you're given, मैं बोल दूं कुक को कुछ भी खाना बना दो, मैं सोचूं कि मेरा फेवरेट खाना वो बनाकर दे देगा, भगवान जी है क्या वो? Unless and until he's habitual to making something again and again. Like, for example, my mother-in-law, when she travels and comes, we all know Ma wants kadhi and Ma wants gajar matar and she wants methi ka paratha. It's automated in us. So when Ma is coming back from a travel, we know this is what we want to welcome her. Simple, sada khana, but she loves it. My co-sister, she loves papad pakodi. So we know when Preeti is back home, she wants papad pakodi ka sabji. That's what makes her happy. With me, I'm a foodie. Back then, I used to love mirchi ka pakoras. Now my body rejects mirchi. So now I myself don't know what I love because my body is in confusion state. Oh, this woman has changed her energy. She's changed her food palette. So anything non-spicy, now it will work for her. Pehle I used to have so much of spice. But जब तक हम clearly spell नहीं करेंगे, हमें कुछ कैसे मिलेगा? Now, जो Dr. Brian Weiss ने लिखा है, उस पर ध्यान दीजिएगा. 130 people are gathered. The energy they're giving out is of healing. Then what happens? The masters are all around us. We write, we know. Every given point, we have masters, angel guardians surrounding us, even right now in your room space also. ये नहीं कि वो beck and call पे बैठे and आते हैं. उनके सोल लेवल पे उन्होंने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट लिया है that we are going to help this man or this woman in their physical journey. क्योंकि जहां वो रहते हैं वहां टाइम बहुत स्लो गति पे चलता है। अर्थ पे तो बहुत फास्ट मूवमेंट होती है। हमारा एक दिन उनका 4 दिन के बराबर, आई मीन हमारा 4 दिन उनका एक दिन के बराबर होता है। सो दे आर एक्चुअली सिटिंग विद अस ऑल द टाइम, सीइंग अस, ऑब्जर्विंग अस, एंड वो मुंह भी बनाते हैं कि अरे ये तो टाइम वेस्ट कर रही है, टाइम वेस्ट कर रहा है। सो वहाँ हीलिंग हो रही है डॉक्टर ब्रायन वेस के ग्रुप में। हमारे ग्रुप में भी हीलिंग हो रही है, मिरेकल्स हो रहे हैं, पर हम उनको शेयर ही नहीं कर रहे, तो हम उनको एक्सपैंड ही नहीं कर रहे। कुछ भी मैजिकल लाइफ में होता है, कुछ भी रियलाइजेशन होती है, our duty is to share and reflect. My intention initially was, if you remember, when I began the sessions, that after session gets over, there'll be reflection time, but I don't see that happening. So I also continue to drop the call, right? So I'm bringing you back to the fact that healings are happening in your life and my life. It's not a coincidence that all of us are tapped in this morning energy and reading this beautiful book. And now to the next section, the fabric of connection. In 93, I was given many lives, many masters by a stranger who knew nothing of me but said it was for me. It made everything in my life prior to that finally make sense. Not so much my experience with past lives as much as personal conflicts that I felt with the common perception of grief. For the first time in my life, I felt validated for not feeling completely stricken with loss when someone passed away. I had a resonating knowing that if only, if I could only work with you and learn from you, I could help others to shift their perspective from pain back to connection. More than 10 years later, my husband, a Californian highway patrol officer, was killed in a pursuit. 2 years after that, I saw you on the Oprah Winfrey show, and that same resonating feeling of knowing came through me as I watched. With your July Omega professional training only weeks away, I booked everything within minutes. It was as easy as water flowing. When I arrived at Omega, my psychic awareness was completely blown open as never before. I was aware of my connection not only to all others, but also with the little animals and plants. You agreed to demonstrate a regression on me in front of the entire group. As you did a rapid induction, I immediately saw the words Tro galloping through my awareness, and then saw the actual Tro we used for our horses' water on the farm on which I grew up. I was led through a childhood memory of being forced by circumstances to sell our beloved horses. I remembered witnessing the pain this had also brought my father, how he had related to my mother, that his instincts told him not to sell the horse to that particular buyer, and how he had ignored those instincts with great regret. I had made a conscious decision to not cry in order to spare my father any additional guilt. From that moment, as a child, until I sat with you at Omega, even the thought of sadness in the relationship to that incident remained deep and anonymous inside me. Understand this. This woman had depth, like in the depth of her heart, she had sadness and grief, which wasn't expressed. What is not expressed gets stored deep, unknown to her. बचपन में इसका ग्रीफ था, वो इसने बाहर नहीं निकाला, एक्सप्रेस नहीं किया, अंदर स्टोर हो गया. The pain became flowing up from my diaphragm with each exhalation as I described what was happening. The combination of absolute shock and relief was indescribable. So वो जब she's releasing with Dr. Wise in her therapeutic session in front of everybody, then that stored up pain is coming with every breath. Finally, she's releasing. I went next to a memory of my son's birth when my own instincts had screamed to me that something was wrong for weeks. Yet I allowed myself to repeatedly be convinced by the doctor that I was simply paranoid. Finally, I pleaded with him to induce my labor, and he reluctantly agreed. But then I was thrown into an emergency cesarean section when arriving at the hospital. My son had needed to be resuscitated, gangrene infecting the entire placenta and umbilical cord. The next day, when he was finally stable enough for me to hold him, I looked down upon him and saw his little stained fingers. I knew that by ignoring my own intuition, which I should have trusted more than the air that I breathed, I had failed my first real test as parent. I'd begun to cry in sadness, in anger, and frustration, the same way my father had when he sold our horses. Just then, my son began to fuss and move uncomfortably, and I realized he could feel this pain coming from me. Out of concern for causing any additional pain to him, I stopped crying and forgot the guilt completely until those 14 years later during my session. I realized the extreme pain that I was completely unaware of harboring. Although absolutely relieved, I felt as if the weight of the world had literally been lifted from my chest. I then became aware of my guide's presence, and the familiar sense of peace and belonging washed over me. They went on to make me aware that I was a part of them, just as they were a part of me. And as I felt you to my right side, I realized that you too were a part of that team. You asked if my husband was there looking for the answer. I could feel him to my left, and I turned my head as if to bring him more clearly into my awareness. Just as I turned left, I also felt him in front of me. I turned my head forward only to feel him to my right, yet still to my left and front. He's everywhere, I said as I realized what I had been feeling. Hearing this, the entire rest of the room of 130 people let out a collective sigh. In that moment, I became aware of energy, like blue thread that had been connecting me to each person in the room since introductions had begun the night before, extending from my diaphragm to others, to theirs individually. When they collectively sighed in response to their own emotions, which was stirred from sharing in my awareness of my late husband's presence, the thread shot out from each of them, from one another to another to another, in a beautiful, simple yet complicated fabric of connection. I became aware of the fact that everything I would go on to do from moment would affect all these others, just as everything that they would go on to do would affect each of the others as well. Heal the healers was the awareness I had, with the knowing that inner connection was our strength. I tuned back into here. You asked if my guides were still present. I responded that they were and they always are. And I said, we are a team and we have a purpose. You asked what the purpose was, and I began to see infinite flashes of scenes, only flashes, but with details and emotions attached to each. The few that I could capture involved a prisoner sitting on the side of his bunk with his head in his hands, feeling more pain, fear, anger towards himself than any of his victims would ever fathom, because even he did not know why he did the things he did, and he could not trust his own actions. A mother holding her child, both of them starving to death, the mother choking on her own pain, knowing her child would die of malnourishment before her fearing she would die, believing her mother was selfish for not dying first. All I could verbally translate of these flashes was the pain, so much pain. As I cried with much intensity that I felt I was split into pieces. All of the pain is from fear, misunderstandings, fearing, and being feared, I said. I knew that the purpose, as you had asked, was to reduce the collective pain through eliminating fear, and through this, an elevation of all things would ensue. I understand now that being one is not a goal, it already is, and that everything that we do, even though seemingly small things that we do individually, does indeed directly affect us all. Nina Mani. अगर हम चलती गाड़ी में खिड़की के बाहर कुछ कचरा डिस्पोज ऑफ कर दें without the right place, we are being part of cluttering and dirtying our ecosystem. Whether we realize or whether we don't, we may think 140 करोड़ की पॉपुलेशन है इंडिया में, इंडिया कैसे गंदी होगी, मैंने एक ही तो रैपर बाहर फेंका है. इट्स कलेक्टिव कॉन्शियसनेस. कहीं ना किसी ने वो आपको रैपर फेंकते हुए डालते हुए देखा है, उसके दिमाग में कहीं ना कहीं सीड्स हो जाते हैं, एंड नोइंगली अननोइंगली, चाहे उसको वो एक्ट अच्छा लगा हो चाहे नहीं लगा, वो भी कहीं ना कहीं रेप्लिकेट करेगा वो एक्शन कभी ना कभी. Everything, every moment is pregnant with possibilities. Every moment, seeds are being sown. Our beautiful physical bodies are also every moment giving birth to so many uncountable cells, and so many uncountable cells are dying a death. Dr. Weiss says, in my lectures and workshops, I frequently talk about how we are all connected, how that one does affect everybody else. Nina says it beautifully. In our connection is our strength. The bonds that connect us are one of loving spirituality. If we are of the same energy, composed of particle and wave and not blood and bone, then what we do affects one another and not just human beings. Our thoughts and actions have consequences. All the more reason to be loving and compassionate and not fearful or harmful. They create our destiny and our future. Nina's story wonderfully expands upon and explains the energetic call that unite us. But there is so much more here. She perceives her late husband's ubiquitous and loving presence. She is aware of the constant eternal wisdom that grace heaven's hand provides us in various forms. Whether through guides, angels, spiritual messengers, or in many other ways, she has recognized lifetimes filled with lessons, loss, pain, and hope. She has been reminded me of a long ago message from a master conveyed through Catherine, recorded on tape and written in many lives, many masters. It is one that has nourished and motivated me ever since. You were correct in assuming this is a proper treatment for those in the physical state. You must eradicate the fear from their minds. It is a waste of energy when fear is present. It stifles them from fulfilling what they were sent to fulfill energy. Everything is energy. So much is wasted. Inside the mountain, it is quiet, it is calm at the center, but on the outside is where the trouble lies. Humans can only see the outside. You have to go deep inside. You must get rid of the fear. That will be the greatest weapon you have. So understand this, dear friends. Energy. That's what today began my morning session with, and we're again reading about this. Everything is energy. We all know that. But कितनी waste होती है? We have to all go deep inside. This soulful morning is about going in the depths of our being. And with this beautiful energy that you're giving in yourself every morning, let all the stored up fear, which is there in your unknown part, in your heart, in your stomach, get rid of that. हमारे 7 known chakras है हमें, right? जो हमारा रूट चक्र है, वहां से सारी फाउंडेशन आती मटेरियलिस्टिक. जो भी कोई अगर आपकी लाइफ में कोई भी लैक है, तो वहीं से आता है. तो आप अपने आप के अंदर अच्छी एनर्जी डाल के वो नेगेटिव एनर्जी सक आउट कर सकते हैं. I'm happy to make a meditation out of this tomorrow morning, and we can all meditate, and I can help you release all your shortcomings from every chakra. Will that work? We release that tomorrow morning. If it works, let me know. We can just do it that time, and I can help you tune into that energy where we can release. Because every trauma, every energy is stored. So thanks to Sonia and Jyoti, we will meditate upon cleansing our chakras from all these stored up fears that we have inside us, so that we can resonate with them. It is what Nina reminds us. All of the pain is from fear. Love and understanding dissolves fear. The greatest teacher, John Kabat-Zinn, taught me a meditation of a mountain. I think of this often, for it helps me to understand how to stay grounded no matter what happens on the outside. I believe that it has been such a powerful image for me precisely because the masters had mentioned it so long ago in the above quote. Picture a beautiful mountain, perhaps with the peak covered in snow. As you look at it, you can see that it has an inner core of constant peace and constant temperature, so that no matter what happens on the outside, the inside remains unchanged. Now imagine that the seasons come and go. Summer comes with lightning, with storms, with flooding, with fires, yet inside the mountain remains completely still, tranquil, and calm. The summer becomes fall with howling seeds and leaves falling off the trees. Then winter arrives with snows and freezing temperatures, and this too turns to spring as the snow melts and avalanches occur. Yet the inner core, that beautiful space deep within the mountain, is unaffected by any of these changing seasons. We are like the mountain. We do not have to let outside events rob us of our joy and harmony, no matter how strongly the storms rage, no matter how loudly the winds howl. We all have that inner core of calm and quiet. It is there whenever we want or need it. By going inwards, we can access its powerful healing presence. The mountain inside is perfect, and so are we. Envision now that tourists come to the mountain. They arrive by train, airplane, car, boat, and other ways, and they all have opinions. This mountain is not as beautiful as one that I have seen elsewhere. It is too small, too tall, too narrow, too wide. But the mountain does not care because it knows that it is the ideal essence of mountain. Isn't that beautiful? No matter how we judge the mountain, mountain खड़ा है strength में. मैं जैसा भी हूँ, I'm a mountain, strong and beautiful and wise, undeterred by your comments. We once again are like that mountain. No matter what people say about us, no matter what criticism or judgments they may offer up and call mirrors, we are already ideal and divine. What does this mean? किसी के कुछ बोल देने से क्या मैं बदल जाऊंगी? अगर मुझे आज ऑन कॉल सपोज माधुरी बोलती है प्राची यू आर डम only if I believe what Madhuri is saying, she's more you know, she's somebody I look up to, like she's my father or mother, something like that, it'll deter me. But should it deter me even if she's like my father or mother? No. With what she's saying, is it right? If what she's saying, if I think that's right, it's true for me. But our job is to just release all these things that people say about. Suppose if right now on call we have, say right now, Jyoti says, Prachi, you are really intelligent. Will I let it come on to me and say, oh my God, I'm so intelligent, Jyoti ne bol diya, mujhe validation ho gaya, oh my God, amazing. And then I become egoistical. It is on me to tell Jyoti ki boss, thank you. But I know that there's so much more that I can study and be intelligent. Abhi to it's a beginning. आपको लगता होगा but thank you so much. अब इसमें भी मेरी ego झलक रही है because I'm not receiving Jyoti's compliment well. I'm giving her things ki okay, what you're saying, okay, I accept, but I don't accept. Back to connecting to where we began in the morning with. Receive what you must, repel what you must, intertwine what you must. You are a wise soul. किसी के कुछ बोलने से आपकी नेचर नहीं बदलती. वो आप में अच्छाई दिख रहा है, एक्सेप्ट कर लो, उसको सर पे मत चढ़ने दो. Anyways, we have just realized, if we didn't know before, ego is a false self. अगर हमें नहीं पता था तो जिसको पता था उसके लिए रिमाइंडर है. All these complex are egoistic. Inferiority complex, मुझ में ये नहीं है, मुझ में ये नहीं है, मुझ में ये नहीं, ये भी एक false ego है कि मुझे ऐसा होना चाहिए, मुझ में ये नहीं है. अगर लगता है कम कुछ मात्रा में है तो उसके ऊपर काम करो, सेल्फ इंप्रूवमेंट करो, कोच करो, बी कोचेबल. कोच करना आसान है, कोचेबल होना आसान नहीं है. बोलना आसान है, सुनना आसान नहीं है, बट इसको कल्टीवेट कर सकते हैं हम. We are already ideal and divine. We are already wise. We do not have to be affected by anybody's opinions, even those of people who are close to us. हमारी family हो, bosses हो, loved ones हो. In that sense, we are solid and grounded in the earth like mountain. We know deep within our hearts that we are the perfect essence of a spiritual being. The words of others cannot rob us of our inner peace and joy unless we give them the power to do so. I often use this meditation to remind myself and others of our magnificence and nobility. And just like the beautiful mountain, although we have merely forgotten this, we are already perfect. We have already been so. So, this is a reminder for me from Dr. Brian West right now that all of us need to meditate on grounding ourselves. So, I want you to think, close your eyes, please, everybody. Become comfortably seated. And because I'm going to be helping you ground, so please requesting you to straighten your back. Just take a minute, get your posture aligned. And those of you who are already ready, tap within your wonderful system. Be uh, connected with your energy. It is very, very important to be connected with the energy so that you're tuned in. We all have had energy vampires where we feel when we go to their place or we meet them, they suck good energy out of us. Consciously or subconsciously, we have allowed that pattern to repeat. And whenever we go in such spaces, we have it in us to do the grounding exercise. So now, however you're seated, see yourself connected to Mother Earth. Maybe your legs are folded in Lotus Sutra, or so your lower legs are connected to Mother Earth. Even if you're on a mattress or a sofa, this is the earth. Below that, there are realms of earth. And above your head, the realms of the Akasha, the sky, universe. So see a bluish white healing light coming from heavens above, from universe above, through your Sahasrara chakra, crown chakra. See the light flooding in your entire brain and see it enlightening, enlivening, enlarging your third eye chakra, your Ajna chakra. Some people say Agya chakra. Filling the third eye. You are becoming more centered, more balanced, more aligned, and more futuristic. Going down to your Vishuddha chakra, your throat chakra. Helping open it, you can speak your truth. Going further below in Anahat chakra, your heart chakra, opening it, making it more expansive for more love to outflow and inflow. Going further deeper in your Manipura chakra, solar plexus chakra, the city of dreams from where you have so many dreams. Going further down in the Swadhisthana chakra, your sacral chakra. Further down in the Mooladhara or the root chakra. And going into Mother Earth. So now you can see yourself from a distance and see that you're seated where you are, how you are. And the light is growing from top to bottom. From universe, you don't know where the light is coming from, you can't even see. There's a huge connection. The light is just flowing, and now you are in the center, and from below you, from your root chakra, it's flowing into Mother Earth. So you're suspended between light. It's one-way light flowing now. Now, to make it more stable, Allow Mother Earth's healing golden light enter your root chakra. Travel up to your Swadhisthana, further up to your Manipura, further up to the Anahat, further up to the Vishuddha. Travel up to Agnya, Ajna, whichever you're comfortable with. Moving on to your Sahasrara chakra. And going into the universe. Now the light flow is happening from top to bottom, bottom to top. You are grounded, aligned, in peace. Now, no matter how many people give you compliments, you accept them in your heart. It doesn't go on to your ego. And no matter how many people ridicule you, criticize you, you do not accept them. You just deflect them. You don't have to do any effort. When you're grounded with the energy, only good energy is flowing. Nothing which is not of God's light can enter you. It's automatic. Because you have grounded and you've created a protection shield around you. All the empty space in your aura are filled with good energy. So nothing which is of Earth's lowest element will attach itself to you. Just be with this. And let's request our Master's Angel Guardians to keep the protection on and to remind us whenever we need to protect ourselves, whenever we're going into such called negative energy zone. And with this, let's thank all of them for helping us ground, balance, align, and protect us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. A lot of love and light. I request that we see each other tomorrow morning. And tomorrow morning, we'll do the exercise of letting go of our fear. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Lots of love and light.